suffering. The state of undergoing pain, distress, or hardship. Playing LEGO Star Wars 2 for DS. The state of undergoing pain. I've done several videos now where I subject myself to handheld LEGO Star Wars games and review them for your entertainment and or educational purposes. On the Game Boy Advance, LEGO Star Wars the video game was not good, but LEGO Star Wars 2 for the Game Boy Advance was certainly an improvement. From what it seemed, the future was looking bright for the art of the handheld LEGO Star Wars game. The moment you load up the game, the nightmare commences. The fever dream begins. The first level is a pretty standard introduction to the gameplay mechanics, but there's no preparing you for the physics of the game. Everything moves kinda, weird. It's hard to complete simple tasks without throwing yourself off cliffs and setting yourself back a few minutes. And the frame rate drops constantly. Every time a group of enemies appear, the game starts having an asthma attack. So a few weeks ago, I played this whole game live on Twitch. If you missed that, well, that's not my fault. I think I've been more than obnoxious promoting my Twitch channel, such as the time I mentioned that I played this game a few weeks ago, and if you missed that, that wasn't my fault, because this joke isn't gonna work. Whenever you want to fly with R2-D2, the camera angle starts automatically shifting mid-air, so you need to wiggle left and right in order to fly straight. Otherwise, you just die. Oh, and by the way, the cutscenes in this game are absolutely fantastic. Alright, let's just dive right into episode 4, level 2. So right off the bat, this level takes a page from Super Mario 64, as Luke goes for a fucking slip and slide ride down the mountain. Could have been a cool moment, very intense, but of course the textures wouldn't load and suddenly my arousal was gone. That's a big issue with this game. I'd often get lost in a void of nothing. I admire the fact that the developers were trying to make the levels as authentic and true to the source material as possible by adapting the sequences from the film where all the textures cease to load around the characters, but I really think it just slows down the pacing of the game since it's so difficult to navigate your way through these areas. Now at the start of the next level, we get right into the first dance number where the Falcon starts busting some moves. Now I don't know if this is supposed to happen or if it's a glitch. The game is already such a disaster that even if this was supposed to be some kind of visual gag, it just comes off as the game breaking itself again. Now, you probably want me to review this game already. Right, get into the nitty-gritty bullshit of how the combat works and how the score's incorporated. But I just don't care. And neither do you. Nobody can actually review this game. There are so many bugs and glitches that every playthrough is unique. I'm not reviewing LEGO Star Wars 2 for DS. I'm simply showing you all my experience with this series of interactive visuals that is supposed to be LEGO Star Wars 2 for DS. I literally can't review this game without comparing notes with several other sources. What? I'm being repeatedly shot in the chest? That's okay. Let's have a good old conversation. What do you want to talk about, Han? You know what? I'm actually just gonna move over here. Let Chewie get shot a few times. You want that? You want that, Chewie? I had a really hard time with this part. I was confused by this little desk because you're supposed to activate an astromech droid panel, but it wasn't working. I thought the game was glitching out again, but it turned out I was just pressing the wrong button.
My developers didn't do a very good job either, it seems.
You actually have to fight Darth Vader at the end of this level. You play as Luke and Obi-Wan while Han and Chewie do this in the background. Alright, the final level of Episode 4. This is the 5th level, by the way. There are only 5 levels in Episode 4. So, this whole level is pretty much just a really tedious boss battle with, I think it's Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. You fly back and forth, and back and forth, and forth, 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 back and forth.
Is that it? That's it. What? What?
Episode 5, Level 1 is exactly what you would expect. You play as a snow speeder, you fight AT-ATs. There's a part of Episode 5, Level 2, where you need to go outside and pull some levers in order to complete a little puzzle. Now, one might ask, where are the levers? So, the levers are on the back sides of these structures here. The problem is, the camera wouldn't turn far enough for me to even see back there, so I just had to guess where everything was. Was this intentional, or was my game just not working? I'm not gonna jump to conclusions, but either way, it's a problem.
Let's take a break, take a breather. You know, it's all so negative. I think it's time I start discussing the positives of the game. So it's a full game. There is no DLC. And there are no ads.
Throughout most of the next level, there's a constant stream of boulders falling on top of the Millennium Falcon. As far as I could tell, there wasn't a whole lot I could do about this, but I don't know, I'm sure someone has the answers. I'll just keep dying for now. Alright, so Dagobah's not in this game. You know, Lego Yoda's only level. They just chopped it right out. Yoda said, do or do not. And then the developers said, okay, we won't. Now, I do want to say the lightsaber combat in this game is incredible. Whenever you do a jump attack, the frame rate absolutely plummets and you move so slow. It's actually pretty adorable. I would also like to point out how much I love the transitions when you walk into new areas. The game just doesn't know what to do with your player model. This game actually brings back the QuickTime events during lightsaber battles, where you need to spam your attack button to win the clash, but there's just not as much build-up like there was in LEGO Star Wars the video game for GBA. It's not as cool here. And if you're less cool than that fucking game, then there really is no hope for you. Alright, episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Now, I actually ran into a little problem in Jabba's palace here. I completed all of the necessary tasks to advance through the level, but nothing was working, so I spent half an hour trying to figure out what I did wrong. It turns out, wait for it, the game's just fucked as usual, so I had to exit to the cantina in order to restart the whole thing. But don't worry, the game isn't ready to function properly just yet. As I sauntered my way back into the episode 6 area, I fell victim to a snare. My whole world caved in on itself, and suddenly, I was confronting my destiny face to face. The game decided it was time to face the Emperor in a duel. Sheev Palpatine himself stood before me, even though Jabba was yet to be slain. So Sheev starts flying around like a mosquito as he tries to recreate the trippy Windows Media Player visualizations. But of course, we kill him. The following cutscene was broken as well and started playing the wrong part of the soundtrack. It's supposed to be playing the disco music, and I watched the cutscene later to confirm this. But when I watched the cutscene initially, it sounded like this. At one point in the Sarlacc pit level, Luke got stuck underneath a little platform. Now, Lando wasn't really helping much, but I did manage to position myself in order to switch to Luke and rescue him. Now, the Endor levels are a huge pain in the ass. The Speeder Showdown was repetitive, but it wasn't that long, so I didn't mind it too much. This, though. Episode 4, or whatever this is. This entire level is one big parkour challenge. The layout is tedious, the frame rate keeps dropping, the camera has no clue where to go. Take another page out of Super Mario 64 and get a Lakitu up here. I need a camera that actually follows me. So then you do this level. There's really nothing interesting about this level. So after I finished the story, someone in the chat told me about a glitch where you can play as a ship in a foot level on free play. I tested this, and to nobody's surprise, it worked. So in the end,